Shalom, beloved. Welcome to Give God Glory through your story. I'm Cecilia, your host. Today, I'd like to talk about the importance of sharing your testimonies. I'm going to use the book of Mark, chapter 5, verse 21 until 43. Please read with me. Verse 21. Now when Jesus had crossed over again by boat to the other side, a great multitude gathered to him, and he was by the sea. And behold, one of the rulers of the synagogue came, Jairus by name. And when he saw him, he fell at his feet and begged him earnestly, saying, My little daughter lies at the point of death. Come and lay your hands on her, and she may be healed, and she will live. So Jesus went with him, and a great multitude followed him and thronged him. Now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years, and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had, and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, If only I might touch his clothes, I shall be made well. Immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. And Jesus, immediately knowing in himself that power had gone out of him, turned around in the crowd and said, Who touched my clothes? But his disciples said to him, You see the multitude thronging you, and you say, Who touched me? And he looked around to see her who had done this thing. But the woman, fearing and trembling, knowing what happened to her, came and fell down before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction. While he was still speaking, some came from the ruler of the synagogue's house and said, Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further? And as soon as Jesus heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, Do not be afraid, only believe. And he permitted no one to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. Then he came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue and saw a tumult and those who wept and wailed loudly. When he came in, he said to them, Why make this commotion and weep? This child is not dead, but sleeping. And they ridiculed him, but when he had put them all outside, he took the father and the mother of the child and those who were with him, and entered where the child was lying. Then he took the child by the hand and said to her, Talitha cum, which is translated, Little girl, I say to you, arise. Immediately the girl arose and walked, for she was 12 years of age, and they were overcome with great amazement. But he commanded them strictly that no one should know it, and said that something should be given her to eat. So, this chapter, as we all can hear, when you read, you can hear that this chapter involves faith. But mostly, it involves life. So, when you listen to the story, this is a story of, though they have faith, but there was expectation that comes with it. Both of them had one goal in mind. If he can only lay his hand on my child, she will be healed. The woman's thought was, if I can only touch the hem of his garment, I will be healed. It just so happened, if you read, while Jesus was walking, the woman was in the crowd. She eventually, just as she thought that she's just going to touch the garment, she will eventually vanish and she's not going to say anything. She didn't even think that Jesus will notice that someone touched him. So she did touch Jesus. And when Jesus felt that power goes out from him, he did say that, Who touched me? But I just want you guys to get the picture of, that thing when you did something wrong and then you feel like you are caught off and now somebody caught you out. Now you have to defend yourself. She comes to the front, trembling, fearing, tells her whole story. While she's telling her story, Jairus is standing there. He just paused because now he's listening to this woman who is struggling with the affliction for 12 years. And Jairus knows that my daughter is 12 years. Jairus is standing there and tapping in to this woman's story. So his faith is being stirred. He's getting hope. He can see the breakthrough that she only touched his garment. And I asked for the laying of the hands. So what happened is Jairus already in a way got his breakthrough in this. And the Bible, nowhere in the scripture does it say it, but for me, how I reason, I just feel like the moment when that woman touched the moment when she touched Jesus' garment, her blood dried up. The blood flow dried up. On the other side, I believe Talita Kum she was breathing her last breath. Because right after that, only after Jesus said that your faith has made you whole, it just so happened that the messenger comes to say that your daughter is dead. Why are you even bothering? Don't bother Jesus. So, yes, though Jairus was stepping in to this woman's story and having that breakthrough and the faith and everything, with him, doubt kicked in. If doubt did not kick in, Jesus would not say, don't be afraid, just believe. So, he had that faith and everything. Jesus said, don't be afraid, just believe. They go to his house. Jesus healed the daughter just as their expectations, because both of them had expectation, and they wanted miracles. For one of the reasons, it happened just as their faith, as they expected to happen. The other thing that I want to bring into the story is the alignment. Sometimes we wonder why our breakthroughs take so long. And if I listen to these two stories, you can hear Jairus had to listen. The woman had to tell her story so that Jairus had to get her breakthrough. How many times are we sitting and we are not sharing, but in the meantime, someone is waiting to hear your story so that the person can get breakthrough. Besides the story, sometimes you wait for things forever. I'll just make an example in our everyday life. Let's say, for instance, you are working for a certain company, maybe for 3-4 years, and there's no promotion, there's no increase, and all of a sudden, there's a new manager that's coming in. And when that person comes in, you get promoted, or you just get a percentage of increase and all that. Sometimes we don't realize that our breakthroughs are connected to people. We never know who they are, but there's always that connection with people. The other thing that I also want to say is God is intentional. We never know how He works, but we just know that it's not by chance that this lady struggles for 12 years. The daughter is 12 years old. So that means that by the time when this lady started with her sickness, in that same year, this little girl was born. And eventually, now they get sick. Both of them are sick. It's a matter of time, a life and death. Here, the breakthroughs are linked into each other. So that's one of the things that we should always keep in mind, and just to trust in God even in our breakthroughs. The other thing that I want to share is let me just sit right. The other thing that I want to share is there's nowhere where we heard that this woman had, let's say, for instance, a prophetic word, or a promise where she got from someone or what. But I believe that, how did she know that she's going to get healed? Why did she go from one doctor to another, and instead of getting help, her condition just got worse? I believe somewhere, somehow, she had a perfect picture of a healthy woman. Like, she had a picture of good health for herself. So she never lost sight of the picture. She would always have the picture in mind that one day I will be healed. One day I will be free from this affliction. And so is it with us also. Like, for me, I think that's the picture that she had. But for us, I believe that each and every one of us have promises. I always say, just when I want to give up on something, then I would ask myself, Cecilia, do you have a promise? Did God give you a promise? Yes, God gave me a promise. I have a promise to hold on to. I have a promise where I can say, God promised me this, this, this. Okay, I don't see any of those manifestations, but I know that I have a promise. The promise that I have is the one that I can bring before God and say that, God, you've promised me this, this, and this, and this. Because most of the time, I believe that we completely we want to give up and we want to surrender when things doesn't happen, because we feel like you've been waiting forever, and forever is a long time and it may not come to pass, or you feel like this is not for me. Who told you that? Who told you that it's not? How do you know it's not for you? So what I want to say is, we always have to bring the promise. If you maybe you say that, I never got a prophetic word. Nobody gave me a promise, or I never had a dream or audible voice or anything. The word are full of promises. In the word are promises for all of us. So you have something that you can stand on to and say, this is the promise that God have gave me, or this is the promise that I'm trusting God on, or a promise that I'm standing on. For those of you who knows me, that I haven't testified yet, but I treat a testimony as a teaching. I always believe that there is always a lesson that you can learn out of a testimony. And out of that, there's always encouragement. You can always encourage someone out of the testimony, and you get a teaching also out of that. One of the things that I want to encourage you with is that for those people, like for those that mother that is saying that I am waiting for my daughter or for my son to come back one day and say that, Mommy, I am done with drugs. Don't give up. That day will come. It will surely come. If you are a mother that says, no, you don't say. You are insulted by the doctor that you will never be able to bear kids. You are insulted by society that you are, in Afrikaans, they call them blauklipper, like they call you a stone, you can't bear. If you are one of those women that are insulted by a doctor, remember, your time will come. I always say, for women, sometimes we take ourselves, we don't see ourselves, and we don't see the worth that we have. But in the word itself, let's not even go far. Let's just go in Genesis. A woman is a life giver. You bring life. You are carrying the gift of life in every situation or circumstances, or even in a place when you carry that seed of life. So how much more for natural? So if you are that mother and you are waiting for years to hold on that little baby in your hands, don't give up. Your time will come. Your breakthrough will come. For a father that says that I've been waiting for my breakthrough. I can't support my family. I don't feel man enough because I can't provide for my family. For that man, I just want to say that Psalm 37 verse 4 says, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. If you are a woman and you are praying for your husband and for your kids, for salvation, for years, and it does not happen. Or maybe if you are like us, these young people that's praying for their parents for salvation, and they've doing it for a while and I don't see it happen. All I want to say is God is at work to do his word. So be faithful in what you do. Keep on praying. Don't give up. If you are single, man or woman, and you feel that maybe marriage is not for you because you've been waiting and nothing is happening. You've been waiting forever, and like we say, forever is a long time. Habakkuk 2 verse 3 say, that the vision is for an appointed time. It will speak. It may feel as if it takes a while. It may tarry, but it will not delay. It will surely come. All you have to do is be patient. So, I want to bless you, and I want to say that give God glory through your story.